Ah, hey, I wanted to show you something very cool about math and how you can use simple things that are right around you, a pen and a piece of paper, knowing what you already know, simply counting and using the skills of observation to see something really cool and make math so much funner. So let's zoom in on this chart and see what we can get. This is the chart. What you do is you start out, think of it like it was a clock face with the numbers 1 to 12 written across the face. And then when you get around to 13, you just kind of think about it as a military clock. And then you keep numbering. But the fun part is the shapes that you make. What you do is you get your chart and you take your pencil and whichever number that you're trying to add, you just follow it with your pencil. I like to use tissue paper or something like that, tracing paper, so I can take a different sheet for each number. So the first shape here is number 2. And the number 2, you see it's not too far off of a straight swirl, but it's kind of a hexagon shape. Next shape is number 3. Number 3, it makes a square. You go from 3, 6, 9, 12, makes a square. And 4 is really cool too. When you start connecting all the 4s, what you get is a triangle. This is the cool part. When you start exploring deeper and going into other numbers, you'll see that the shapes start looking like each other and that some of the shapes are not as clean and neat as a square and a triangle. But before we get away from the clean and neat, I want you to see these cool straight ones. This here are the 6s. And as you see, when you bounce from the bottom to the top, you make a straight line. And now look at the 12. The 12 is the same line, except you don't have to go from bottom to top. You just shoot from the top all the way upward. For as long as we have numbers, that'll all be divisible by 12. The first thing we'll look at is the shapes that are self-similar. We've already looked at the 4s, and now we're going to look at 8s. You see how it looks very much like the 4s? Well, it's because a 4 is contained twice in an 8. Going through this, you'll see the self-similarity popping up several times, but I want to show you something that looks similar, but it's not the same. These are 5s. You see the star shape. This is 7s. It's also a star shape. But if you look at them back to back, they're pointing in different directions. So let's look for a minute at direction. These are 5s. They're going clockwise. These are 7s. They go counterclockwise. 8s and 9s. And the counterclockwise spiraling keeps on going with 10s and 11s. But let me show you something about 10s. 10s begin an organic shape, and 11 kind of rounds it out a little bit more. And then once you get to 12, you're going straight up the middle again. Now, something really cool happens when you get to 13s. The same organic shape keeps going. However, look at the direction it goes. So you got the same shape on 11 and 13, and they're broken up only by the straight line down the middle of 12. But they're going in different directions. Now, I know that there's some of you out there that are smarter than me, and you notice that there are 4 numbers that some really crazy things happen around: number 5, number 7, 11, and 13. Prime numbers. And we can look back at our chart, and if you take a look at this, you see that only the prime numbers fall along these 2 meridians connected to the 5, 7, 11, and 13. And then they also make a pretty cool pattern when you connect them together. Well, I hope that you found this as cool as I have and have fun with all the shapes. And I encourage you to do it yourself so you can feel it going around in the different shapes. And you'll find that the higher math is easy. And just imagine if I was a kid and had a poster of this thing in my classroom, we wouldn't have been asking for calculators so frequently. And another interesting thing I found about it is the shapes have the number of points that the shapes have are, when you multiply that number, it gets 12 every time. It's really cool. So uh, if you have anything that you observe from it that I've missed, please put it in the comments, and I would ask you to pass it along and share it with people just for the fun of what this thing is. It's been a lot of fun, so hope you enjoy it too. Thanks.